My daughter-in-law texted me, "Heat up the leftover meatloaf, old man," but what I did next left them speechless. Let me tell you something. I'm Gary Mitchell, 59 years old, and I thought I knew what family meant. Boy, was I wrong. It was 9:45 p.m. on a Thursday when my phone buzzed on the kitchen table. I was sitting there staring at a bowl of canned soup I didn't even want to eat. The house smelled like pine sol and loneliness. I'd spent the whole day fixing the leaky faucet in their master bathroom, mowing the lawn, and picking up Tyler and Sophia from school because Ashley had some important meeting. I picked up the phone thinking maybe it was Kevin saying they were heading home early, that there was room for me at whatever restaurant they went to celebrate Ashley's promotion. But no, it was a text from Ashley. "Don't wait up, old man. Heat up the leftover meatloaf in the fridge." I read those words 3 times. Felt something crack inside my chest, like when you drop a wrench on concrete and hear that sharp snap. It wasn't just the text, it was the tone. The casual cruelty wrapped up in everyday words. It was knowing that while I was eating soup alone in this house I helped buy, they were raising champagne glasses at Romano's Steakhouse, the place where dinner for 4 runs you $200 easy. I opened Facebook on my phone, shouldn't have, but I did. There they were, the photos. Kevin in his button-down shirt, the one I'd ironed that morning because Ashley said the cleaning lady didn't do it right. Ashley in some red dress, smiling like she owned the world. Tyler and Sophia with big plates of shrimp, making faces at the camera. Ashley's mom was there, her sister, even Kevin's cousin Mark from Denver, everyone but me. The caption read, "Celebrating my queen's promotion. Regional marketing coordinator at 31. Here's to women who never settle. Blessed power couple, family 237 likes in 30 minutes. Not one comment asking where Grandpa Gary was." I closed the app and looked at my soup getting cold. Then something strange happened. I didn't get mad, didn't punch the wall or throw anything. This calm feeling washed over me, like my brain finally caught up to what my gut had been telling me for months. I walked to my bedroom and opened the closet, because what they didn't know, what nobody at that table full of laughter and expensive wine could imagine, was that I'd been preparing for this moment since last Christmas, when Ashley told her friend on the phone that I was just temporary help until we figure out the old man situation. See, I'd been recording things, documenting everything, building a case like the methodical factory worker I'd been for 35 years. And this time, I wasn't going to heat up their leftovers. This time, I was going to disappear. And when they came home that night, drunk on wine and arrogance, what they'd find would shake them to their core. But let me back up and tell you how I got here. How a 59-year-old man who'd worked his whole adult life at Mitchell Manufacturing ended up being treated like an unpaid handyman in his own house. 3 years ago, I buried my wife, Linda. Cancer took her fast 6 months from diagnosis to goodbye. We'd been married 32 years, raised Kevin in our little ranch house on Maple Street. The house had good bones, solid foundation, but after the funeral, every room felt like a museum of memories I couldn't bear to walk through. Kevin came by 2 weeks later with Ashley hanging on his arm. He had that look, the same one he'd get as a kid when he broke something and needed to confess. "Dad," he said over coffee in my kitchen, the same kitchen where Linda used to hum while making Sunday breakfast. "Ashley and I have been looking at houses. We want something bigger for the kids, but the down payment is killing us." Ashley nodded, running her coral fingernails around her mug rim like she was marking territory. "The house we want in Riverside Meadows needs $75,000 down. We've saved for 2 years, but we're still $30,000 short." They didn't have to spell it out. The weight of their expectation hung in the air like smoke. "How much do you need?" I asked, already knowing I was about to make the biggest mistake of my life. Kevin looked at his shoes, still doing that thing he'd done since he was 8 years old when he wanted something. "If you sold this place, Dad, you could come live with us. You wouldn't be alone anymore. The kids love having you around. It would be perfect." Ashley smiled that magazine-perfect smile she'd perfected for her marketing job. "It really would be ideal, Gary. You could help with Tyler and Sophia, and we'd all stick together. Like real family, that word family. It got me every time. I signed the papers 3 weeks later. The ranch house sold for $145,000 minus, not bad for a place I'd bought in 1995 for $89,000. I gave Kevin $75,000 for their down payment and kept the rest in a savings account, thinking it was my insurance policy. What I didn't do, and this still keeps me up some nights, was insist on putting my name on the deed of their new house. Kevin said it wasn't necessary, that it was all family anyway. "Why complicate things with extra paperwork? Just makes it cleaner this way, Dad," he'd said. "We can always add you later," and I, like a trusting fool, believed him. The house in Riverside Meadows was everything our old place wasn't. New construction, HOA fees, mailboxes that all matched, and neighbors who barely waved when you passed. 4 bedrooms, 3 full baths, 2-car garage with automatic doors, modern appliances, granite countertops, the works. Nice place. Expensive place. Cold place. The first few months weren't terrible. I found my routine. Up at 5:30 a.m. to make coffee the way Kevin liked it, black, with just a pinch of sugar. The way I'd taught him when he was 12 and wanted to drink grown-up coffee with me on Saturday mornings. I'd cook breakfast. Eggs over easy, bacon crispy, but not burnt, toast cut diagonal like Linda used to do. I'd get Tyler and Sophia ready for school, pack their lunches with little notes like "Have a great day," "Love Grandpa," and walk them to the bus stop at the end of our cul-de-sac. Ashley would breeze out at 7:45 sharp in her business suits and that expensive perfume that probably cost more than I spent on groceries in a month. She'd barely look at me on her way to her silver Lexus, the one they'd bought 6 months after moving into the house they couldn't afford without my help. Kevin would leave at 8 for his construction supervisor job, sometimes giving me a quick forehead kiss like he had since he was little, sometimes just calling out "Thanks, Dad," without even turning around. Then the house would go quiet, except for the expensive central air system that Ashley insisted had to be set to 72 degrees year-round. And I'd stay behind, washing dishes in the farm sink that cost more than my first car, doing laundry in the high-efficiency machines I'd bought them for Christmas, fixing whatever needed fixing around their perfect house. Because Ashley had standards, high standards that she'd inspect every evening when she got home from managing marketing campaigns for medical device companies. She'd walk through the house like a general inspecting troops, running her finger along baseboards looking for dust, checking the bathrooms like she was grading a hotel, opening the refrigerator to make sure everything was in its designated spot according to the system she'd created. "Gary, the mirrors have water spots. Gary, Tyler's school uniform isn't pressed right. Gary, why did you use the expensive fabric softener? The store brand works just fine. Never Grandpa, never Dad, like Kevin called me, just Gary, like I was the maintenance guy who happened to live in their house." Sometimes she'd add "please" at the end, but it always sounded like an afterthought, the way you'd thank someone for holding a door. The kids loved me, though. That was the real thing in all this mess. Tyler would hug me when he got home from school, his backpack flying off his shoulders as he told me about his day, who got in trouble, what they had for lunch, whether his teacher, Mrs. Henderson, liked his book report. Sophia would climb into my lap during their evening cartoons, her head fitting perfectly under my chin like Kevin's used to when he was small. But whenever Ashley caught these moments, her face would change. Not angry exactly, but something colder, like she was calculating something in her head. One evening in November, Sophia was helping me make chocolate chip cookies, Linda's recipe that I'd memorized by heart. Sophia was standing on the kitchen step stool, carefully counting chocolate chips into the bowl, when she looked up at me with those big brown eyes and said, "Grandpa Gary, I love you more than anybody in the whole world." Right in front of Ashley, the silence that followed felt like someone had sucked all the air out of the room. Ashley's coffee mug stopped halfway to her lips. Sophia kept stirring the cookie dough, oblivious to the tension. That night, I heard voices through the wall between my room and theirs. Not shouting, Ashley was too controlled for that, but that intense whisper fighting that married couples do when they're trying not to wake the kids. "Your father is undermining my authority with my children. Kevin, they're my kids too, Ash. He spoils them, gives them everything they ask for. Makes me look like the bad guy when I have to set boundaries. He's just being a grandfather. He's being an interference, and it needs to stop." I pressed my ear against the wall, waiting for Kevin to defend me, to say something, anything. But all I heard was silence, then the creak of their bed as someone rolled over. That's when I knew I'd crossed some invisible line I didn't even know existed. The months that followed, the humiliations got more creative. Ashley would plan family outings and forget to mention them until they were walking out the door. "Oh, Gary, we're going to the zoo. Didn't I tell you? It's kind of a small car situation. You know how it is." She'd have her book club over and introduce me to her friends as Kevin's dad, who helps around the house never as family, never as grandpa to her children. They stopped including me in photos. At Christmas, when they set up for the annual family picture in front of their 12-foot tree, the one I'd helped Kevin wrestle into the living room and string with 800 lights, Ashley handed me her phone. "You take the best pictures, Gary. You have such steady hands." So I stood behind that camera watching my son, my daughter-in-law, and my grandchildren smile like a Christmas card while I disappeared from their family history. That photo ended up in a silver frame on the mantle. I wasn't in a single family picture anywhere in that house, like I was some kind of ghost who happened to do laundry and fix leaky faucets. But what really got to me was the recording I made by accident in February. I'd been using my old phone to time myself doing yard work. Doctor said I needed more exercise for my blood pressure, and I forgot to turn it off when I came inside. Ashley was on a call with her sister in the kitchen, and she didn't see me in the hallway hanging up my work jacket. No, seriously, it's like having a live-in handyman who works for free. Ashley laughed. He gets up early, makes breakfast, watches the kids when I need him to, fixes everything that breaks. And the best part, I don't have to pay him or give him vacation days because he's family. Her sister said something I couldn't hear. Then Ashley continued. Kevin feels guilty sometimes, but I keep telling him that Gary's better off here than rattling around alone in some depressing senior apartment. Besides, where else is he going to go? That laugh, cold as ice water. That's when I started recording on purpose. Over the next 6 months, I collected 17 recordings, Ashley talking to her friends about how convenient it was to have a built-in babysitter, Ashley planning with her sister how to convince Kevin that I'd be happier in an assisted living facility once I got too old to be useful, Ashley mocking my clothes, my truck, my old-fashioned ways to anyone who would listen. I saved every recording, backed them up, organized them by date in a folder on my computer labeled home maintenance records. Even documented the conversations in a notebook just like I used to do with machinery maintenance logs at the factory, because 35 years of factory work teaches you something important. When something's about to break down, you better have documentation. But the recordings were just part of what I was building. The real evidence was in my old toolbox, my dad's toolbox from when he worked the oil rigs in West Texas. Hidden behind some shoe boxes in my closet, wrapped in one of Linda's old dish towels, was a spiral notebook where I'd been documenting every penny I'd put into this house. See, Ashley might have thought I was just some old guy who didn't understand modern life. But 35 years of quality control at Mitchell Manufacturing taught me to keep records of everything. Every receipt, every bank transfer, every home improvement project that came out of my pocket while Kevin and Ashley lived like they'd won the lottery. I flipped through those pages like reading a financial crime novel. September 2021, down payment on house $75,000, October 2021. New washer and dryer set because Ashley said their apartment-sized units were embarrassing for entertaining, $2,100, November 2021. Complete living room furniture set because she wanted something that didn't look like a college dorm, $4,200, December 2021. New roof after the hailstorm, $6,000. January 2022, master bathroom remodel that Ashley desperately needed to feel comfortable in her own home, $8,500, March 2022. Kitchen appliance upgrades, $3,800. June 2022, backyard deck and patio project, $4,000. August 2022, pool installation for the kids, $12,000. Page after page of my retirement money flowing into their lifestyle upgrades. But the monthly stuff was what really got me. Kevin's construction supervisor job paid decent, around $4,200 a month, take home, but their mortgage payment was $1,450. Add in Ashley's car payment, her credit card bills, the kids' activities and groceries for 4 people, and they were underwater every month. So who made up the difference? Me, $850 every month from my Social Security and pension, faithfully transferred from my account to theirs. For 3 solid years. I did the math on the last page of that notebook, double-checked it like I used to verify production numbers at the plant. Down payment and home improvements, $87,500. Monthly contributions, 36 months times $850 equals $30,600. Total investment, $118,118. Almost everything I'd gotten from selling the house where Linda and I raised our son, where we celebrated 32 Christmases, where she died holding my hand in the bedroom we'd shared for 3 decades. All of it poured into a house where they treated me like I was taking up space in their perfect life. But here's the thing Ashley didn't know, the thing that was going to change everything. That house was still legally mine. When we'd bought the place, the real estate agent suggested putting the deed in my name since I was making the full down payment. You can transfer it later if you want, she'd explained, but this way you're protected if anything goes wrong with the financing. Kevin had nodded along. Makes sense, Dad. We can always change it later when things settle down, but we never did. Kevin would bring it up every few months. Hey, Dad, we should get to the lawyer's office and get that deed transferred. But there was always something else. Baseball season starting, Ashley's busy time at work, the holidays coming up. After a while, he stopped mentioning it altogether. Now, I understood why I'd never pushed the issue. Some part of me, the part that had survived layoffs and plant closures and 35 years of corporate uncertainty, knew I might need that protection someday. That protection was about to pay off. The Thursday Ashley got her promotion started like any other day. I was in the kitchen at 6 a.m. making coffee when she came downstairs practically glowing. She had on her power suit, the charcoal gray one she wore to important meetings, and a smile that could have powered the whole house. I got it. She announced as Kevin stumbled down in his work boots, still half asleep. Got what? He mumbled, reaching for the coffee I'd already poured him. The promotion. Regional marketing coordinator. They called me at home last night after you went to bed. Kevin's face lit up. He grabbed her and spun her around right there in the kitchen. Ashley, that's incredible. I knew you'd get it. Tyler came running downstairs in his pajamas. What's all the noise about? Mommy got promoted at work, Kevin explained, still grinning. She's basically going to be the boss of a whole bunch of people now. Does that mean we're rich? Sophia asked from the doorway, rubbing sleep from her eyes. Ashley laughed. It means Mommy worked really hard and it paid off. We need to celebrate. I was standing at the stove flipping pancakes, listening to their excitement and feeling genuinely happy for Ashley. Whatever our problems were, she'd worked hard for this promotion and she deserved it. Congratulations, I said, sliding pancakes onto plates. That's really great news. Thanks, Gary, she said, barely glancing my way before turning back to Kevin. We should do something special tonight. Really special. Romano's? Kevin suggested. The steakhouse with the city view? Perfect. I want the full celebration, wine, dessert, everything. We've earned it. Tyler raised his hand like he was in school. Can I order the lobster? Tonight you can order whatever you want, buddy, Kevin said. This is a big deal. The whole family should celebrate. My heart did a little jump at those words. The whole family that meant me, right? I put the plate of pancakes on the table and wiped my hands on my apron. What time should I be ready? I asked, trying to sound casual. Ashley froze with her coffee cup halfway to her lips. Kevin stopped chewing. The kitchen went dead quiet except for the hum of the refrigerator. Ashley looked at me like I'd just asked to borrow her car to rob a bank. Ready for what? The celebration dinner. Family dinner. Kevin cleared his throat and shot Ashley one of those married couple looks that say 1,000 words without speaking. Oh, Gary. Ashley said with that fake smile she'd perfected for difficult customers. This is more of an intimate celebration. Just us, the kids. My mom who's driving up from Colorado Springs. You know, immediate family. Those words hit me like a punch to the gut. Immediate family. After 3 years of cooking their meals, watching their kids, and paying their bills, I wasn't immediate family. I understand, I said, turning back to the stove even though the pancakes were already done. Besides, Ashley continued, buttering her toast like she was performing surgery. Someone needs to keep an eye on the house. Can't just leave it empty. And you're such a good cook. I'm sure you'll make yourself something wonderful. Kevin said nothing. My son, the boy I'd taught to throw a curveball and change a tire, just sat there staring at his breakfast like it held the meaning of life. They left at 11 a.m. Ashley changed outfits 3 times before settling on a red dress that probably cost more than I spent on groceries in 2 months. The kids were excited in their Sunday clothes, chattering about lobster and chocolate cake. Kevin gave me his usual distracted forehead kiss. Don't wait up, Dad. We'll probably be pretty late. And just like that, they were gone. The house went silent except for the hum of the central air and the distant sound of lawnmowers in other people's yards. I walked through the living room I'd helped furnish past the 55-inch TV I'd bought them for Christmas, through the kitchen where I'd prepared thousands of meals. Everything was perfect. Everything was in its place, and I was completely alone on what should have been a family celebration. I made myself a can of soup for dinner. The cheap kind, 89 cents at the grocery store. I ate it at the kitchen table, not the dining room. The help doesn't eat in the dining room. At 7:30 p.m., I made the mistake of checking Facebook. There they were, living it up at Romano's. Ashley glowing in her red dress with a wine glass raised in a toast. Tyler and Sophia with huge plates of surf and turf, making silly faces for the camera. Kevin looking proud in his dress shirt, the one I'd ironed that morning. The whole table was there. I counted them: Kevin, Ashley, the kids, Ashley's mom, her sister and brother-in-law, and 2 other couples I didn't recognize. 10 people celebrating while I ate soup alone in the house I'd helped buy. The comments were rolling in. Congratulations, Superwoman. You deserve everything. Beautiful family. Nobody asked where Grandpa Gary was. Nobody noticed someone was missing from the family photo. Then my phone buzzed. Ashley's text. Don't wait up, old man. Heat up the leftover meatloaf in the fridge. I stared at those words until they burned into my retinas. Old man. That's all I was to them, some old guy who fixed things and paid bills and watched kids when it was convenient. I typed back, will do. But those 2 words carried 3 years of humiliation and a decision that had been building since the day I realized I was invisible in my own house. I went upstairs and pulled my suitcase from the closet. The same one Linda and I used for our 25th anniversary trip to Yellowstone. It still had a park sticker on the corner. Before I packed anything, I went to my closet and retrieved my father's old toolbox. Inside was the notebook with all my financial records, the manila envelope with the property deeds, and a USB drive with 17 audio recordings of Ashley's phone conversations. I sat on my bed and opened the envelope with shaking hands. There it was in black and white. property located at 1247 Riverside Circle, Riverside Meadows Development. Owner, Gary Mitchell. My name. Only my name. The house they thought was theirs legally belonged to me. I packed quickly but carefully. Clothes, photos of Linda, my father's watch, the notebook, the deeds, the recordings, everything that was truly mine. Then I called my lawyer friend Harold Peterson, who I'd known since high school. Gary, it's pretty late. Everything okay? Harold, I need legal advice. It's about my house. Your house? I thought you were living with Kevin. That's exactly what I need to talk about. 20 minutes later, I had an appointment for first thing Monday morning. I left a note on the kitchen counter. Kevin, for 3 years I lived in this house as an invisible handyman. I cooked, cleaned, fixed everything that broke, and contributed $108 while being treated like hired help. Tonight, while you celebrated Ashley's promotion and texted me about leftover meatloaf, I decided I was done being the ghost in this family. Check your nightstand for documents that will explain everything. We'll see each other soon with lawyers present. I've loved you your whole life, but love doesn't mean being a doormat. Dad, I put the manila envelope on Kevin's nightstand with a note. This house is in my name. Always has been. Every expense is documented. $118 and $100 total investment. Hope the celebration was worth it. I called an Uber from the corner and waited in the shadows. When the driver pulled up, I took one last look at the house. 3 years of my life, most of my money, and all of my dignity had gone into that place. Long trip tonight, the driver asked as we pulled away. I watched the house disappear in the darkness. Not a trip, a journey back to myself. As we drove through the quiet subdivision, I imagined them coming home. Kevin fumbling for his keys, Ashley laughing about her promotion, the kids sleepy in the backseat. Walking into that house, calling my name to tell me about their expensive dinner, finding silence. Going upstairs confused, seeing my empty room, then finding the note and envelope, understanding everything. Monday morning, I sat across from Harold in his law office downtown. He'd spent an hour reading through my documentation, shaking his head and whistling under his breath. Gary, this is ironclad. You own that house outright. You can evict them, charge them back rent, sell it tomorrow if you want. They have zero legal claim to the property. What I want, I said slowly, is for them to understand what they lost. Not just a house, me, their family, their foundation. We worked out a plan, a 60-40 property split, me keeping the majority ownership, Kevin getting enough to stay in the house but never forget who really owned it, monthly rent payments to me, mandatory family counseling for Kevin and me, and one more thing, Ashley would have to attend financial planning classes to learn the value of money and respect. That afternoon, I sent one text to Kevin, family meeting tomorrow, 2 p.m., Harold Peterson's office on Main Street. Bring Ashley. Come ready to listen. 3 days later, I was sitting in that law office watching my son's face crumble as he realized what he'd lost. Not just property rights, but his father's respect. Ashley sat pale and silent as Harold explained their legal situation. I didn't know, Kevin kept saying, Dad, I didn't know you felt this way. You didn't ask, I replied. For 3 years, you didn't ask. The meeting lasted 2 hours. By the end, we had an agreement. They could stay in the house, but things would change. I'd keep my apartment downtown. They'd pay me rent. We'd go to counseling. Ashley would attend money management classes. Most importantly, I'd never again be the invisible old man in my own house. 6 months later, Kevin and I have coffee every Wednesday. He calls me Dad again, not just when he needs something. Ashley says please and thank you now, and she means it. The kids still love their Grandpa Gary. I sleep peacefully in my small apartment, knowing I finally found my voice. Sometimes the most loving thing you can do is teach people not to take you for granted. Respect isn't given, it's earned, demanded, and sometimes fought for. At 59, I learned it's never too late to stand up for yourself, even against your own family. The hardest lesson I learned at 59 wasn't about money or legal documents. It was that teaching people how to treat you sometimes requires walking away from everything you've built for them. Family isn't about blood or obligation, it's about mutual respect, and respect can't be inherited, borrowed, or taken for granted. Sometimes the people who need your love the most are the ones who've forgotten how to value it, and the only way to remind them is to stop giving it away for free. I spent 3 years trying to buy my place in their family with money and service, when what I should have been demanding all along was simple human dignity. The most expensive mistake you can make is investing everything you have in people who see your generosity as weakness instead of love.